I'm not realizing that not having time with myself is also eliminating more time from others, because the less time I have with myself, the less I feel good, the less I am energized. I can't stay up late. I can't wake up early. I'm starting to lose it. And it's because of the vicious cycle of not saying no.
We started on our knees, had no one to light. Then we found our way to church. God got our vision set right. You pulled us out the dirt. Now we're walking in our purpose, not just shopping in vain. We're calling our Holy Father, staying away from the lies, 'cause you taught us how to abide. We got the way you do it. Yeah, you did it, and you did it. When the road got rough, you pulled us through it. You always do it. Yeah, God, you did it. Yeah, we got the way you do it. Yeah. Walk a little different by avenue. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to Different by Avenue. Today is an episode we all, and I do mean all, need to hear. And we are joined by the amazing Christy.
Yay! Welcome. Today is all about the power of tiny 2-letter word. But before we get into it, let's pray. Lord, help us to be people of our word. Give us the discernment to know what to take on and the strength to decline what isn't meant for us in this season. Teach us that our worth isn't found in our yes, but in your love. Amen.
I am D, a recovering people pleaser, and I am slowly learning that I cannot save the world if I am running on empty.
Yes. And I'm Bree, and we're sitting with Miss Dr. Christy to talk about why boundaries are just nice to have. They are essential for a peaceful life.
Yes. Thank you guys. I'm really excited for this.
We'll get pretty much right into it, because I think as women of faith, we are taught to be servants, and we're taught to give until it hurts. And how do we start saying no without feeling like we're being unchristian?
How do we start? I mean, honestly, you just kind of do. I feel like saying no is very uncomfortable. And that's why we think it's wrong and unchristian. But the reason why it's uncomfortable is because we've never been put there. Like, it's like new scenarios, right? Like, if you're so used to saying yes to everything, saying no is a new experience. And that's going to feel uncomfortable, and it's going to feel wrong. And it's going to feel like we're doing something that's not right. And I think regardless of where you start in your journey saying no, it's always going to feel unchristian at first because you're just not used to it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's unchristian.
Yes. That is definitely the struggle. When is enough truly enough? Like, how do we find that line between being helpful and being a doormat?
Man, that is also such a hard question too, right? Because it's such a very thin line. It's being able to also be respectful, but something that like really comes to mind when you ask me this question, and this is something that I read a very long time ago, but it was this quote that went along the lines of somebody that's telling you their boundaries, it's somebody that's trying to keep you in their life. And I think that is such an important way to look at it. Like, you're not telling boundaries or you're not saying no to things because you want to isolate them or you want to get rid of them. On the contrary, you're trying your best to keep them in your life. And I think just being able to recognize that is what makes it a huge difference between, are you doing something proactive or are you just like doing it to hurt others, So but it's a thin line, I would say. It's not easy to go into it.
Now, I do have to say, when Bo and I met you, you were always so quiet, but of course, so sweet. And then when I feel like I asked you something and you're like, no. And I was like, well, that was easy the way she said it. I need to, what? Okay, all right. So, of course, that's why I was like, okay, yeah, Christy would be perfect for this one. So, I mean, you're almost, this is just a reference. This is no truth. The silent killer, like no. And that was complete. That was it. There's no explanation. I'm done. So perfect.
Yeah.
But why is it hard to just leave it at no without giving a 3-paragraph explanation or an excuse?
Why is it hard? I mean, I think it's because we feel like a burden,
Yes.
Like, we need to justify ourselves to other people because we think it's important for them to understand where we're coming from, right? And I think that's one of the things that's like, sometimes I go to God to. God will fight for you. God will be the fighting for you. He'll be the one that reflects who you are. So like, if you're not like if you're constantly concerned about what people are going to think of you, then it's going to be really hard to say no. And I think we've all done that because we do feel the need to be heard. And just sometimes when it comes to really close friendships, like I'm thinking of like my boyfriend right now, or like sometimes I'm like, no, you don't have to justify yourself. But he's like, no, I still want you to hear me, you know? And like, that's completely understandable. But I think it really falls down to trusting that, you know, your true self will be reflected through God's glory, and regardless of how you say no, you know? So you just need to be respectful about it. And like the people that love you, the people that know you, even strangers, I think are going to be able to understand. But it's mainly because of that. I think we tend to feel like a burden, you know? We don't want to be a doormat. We don't want to bother people. So us saying no seems like an inconvenience, when in reality, you know, it's not necessarily an inconvenience, but for us, it feels that way. So
I think for the mom or the business owner who has let
Mhm.
people walk over that for years, like how do you reset those expectations without destroying relationships? I mean, especially I
Right.
really think of like work. I own my own business. How do I say no?
Mhm.
How do I make sure that I'm still keeping these people around? I want money.
Yeah.
I don't want to say no, but I kind of have to.
When you say no, do you say like no to clients? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I
Or
mean, even then, I just had yesterday talking with a client. Can we confirm the times? Because I'm triple booking myself today. And I need to make sure that I have enough time to get from one place to the other. And then I just
right.
reread that sentence and I was like, I'm triple booking myself because I couldn't say no because money. Like, really, it just so happens it's a super popular day for events and I got to be in 3 places at once.
Yeah.
When do you determine no?
I mean, there's always like a cost, right, to everything. And then when it comes to saying yes, I think the cost is you and
Mhm.
your mental state, your mental presence. I think all of that. So yeah, it is really hard to reset, right? Because you have personal goals, you know, you have business goals as well. So those two
Yeah.
can be very conflicting. But I think something, and I'm sure you can speak from experience from this, where it's like sometimes when you do overbook yourself, you're not present in all of those 3 events, and you're probably given half the work that you would give if only you had 1 event or 2 events at most, you know? So I think at that point, I think it's just about asking, you know, is the cost of losing this event higher or lesser than losing my mental state of that day? Is this sustainable? You know, if you were to do this every day for the rest of your life, is it sustainable? Or are you just putting yourself in a path of burnout? You know, so I think that's where you need to really like recognize it, because burnout doesn't come in one day, right? It's like a buildup of multiple days, multiple months even, and you don't even see it coming. It just kind of happens, and then you have to step out and you're pretty much forced to rest, you know, because your body can't take it anymore. Whereas if you were to start since the beginning, like recognizing that, you know, I can't do it all, is a very vulnerable experience, right? Because accepting that you can't do it all, it's like, okay, I'm human. I'm not meant to do it all. That's a God thing, you know? So just accepting that vulnerability, that you really have your own limits, I think helps in the long run than it does just trying to do it all, you know?
Dr. Christy dropping gems over here.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
How do you justify it? How you put
Mhm.
numbers, money I can put numbers to my business. I
Mhm.
can say, well,
Mhm.
by not taking this client, I'm gonna leave room for me to do administrative stuff, to just be a mom, to do
Mhm.
these other things.
Yeah.
But that there's no cost to that. There's no
Like
tangible
physical.
value.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
No,
lot
there
of
is.
moms that I've right.
Pause. There is
Yeah.
time. Time. If there's a cost to time,
But what
time
is
is
that
money.
number? You know, like
Right.
it's hard as a mom
Like to see it.
especially if you
Yeah.
don't have a job that is saying,
Mhm.
okay, I have a job that I make $50 an hour and
Mhm.
with those $50 in that time, okay, yeah, it will. Should I be making that money or is my time better spent somewhere else? And for me, I'm like, $50 for me time? Like, what do you how do you say like this is valued at more
Mhm.
than this
Mhm.
money? And
Mhm.
thinking in something that is tangible, especially as
Mhm.
someone who doesn't necessarily have numbers to look at and say, as a
Yeah.
mom, my number is, my hours cost $100 an hour, so that
Mhm.
client is not worth it. But
hmm
how do you say that? How do you know, or how do you figure that
hmm
out so that I can say, no,
hmm
my value is
Yeah, I think you're hitting the spot, right? Because like we don't see it. So that's I go back to the idea of burnout. Like you don't see it coming until it actually happens. And I think that's like there's obviously a cost, but like how can you start quantifying it? How can you start realizing that? And I don't know why I keep thinking about like so just like a fun fact, I gave up sugar at the beginning of this year and I'm still trying to work
congrats.
on that. Thank
Ugh,
you. Anyways, it was
ugh,
so hard. Saying
yeah.
no to sugar was so hard. It got me so angry. So angry. I was angry for like a whole month and I didn't understand why. And it was because I couldn't get sugar. You know, it just like, it was so hard not to. And the reason why I bring this up is because like, I didn't know the benefits of leaving sugar. You know, like I knew if I ate that cake, it was going to be amazing. And that was what I saw. That was the quantifiable part of it. So, like, leaving
Mhm.
it, like, the thought of that gave me anger. That doesn't seem like a nice trade back, you know? I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? But then it was the long term process. I realized that after, I think I dropped it completely for like a whole month and a half. And after that, I realized that I had no headaches. You know, my stomach aches decreased by so long. I stopped getting bloated. My periods have been so much easier. Like it was a long term result that really made it clear for me why I was saying no to these things that was definitely hurting me. And I think that's kind of where you have to be patient about it.
Mhm.
You won't see the results of saying no automatically. It's similarly to burnout, but on the other side, where it's like you'll see it in the long term. Think of it going to the gym, right? You don't see the results of going to the gym one time. You see it after 3 months of consistently doing it. And I think that's the cost, you know? That's where you're not going to see the results until you actually stay with it for like a very long, long time. So, yeah.
I like the
Yeah.
visuals
Which,
though. Ooh, sugar though. I commend you because I
thank
probably
you.
should do the same. But oh,
It's hard. I'm not gonna lie. It took a lot. I had to be very patient with myself.
Yes. So you made me think because the analogy you gave was perfect, right? It makes me think of like the lineage of Jesus. So
Mm-hmm.
who was in his line? I want to say, was it Naomi? Was in his family line, but
Mm-hmm.
she did not know that the things that her and Ruth were doing were going to have the effect of Jesus being a part of their line and
Right.
changing so many people's lives for
Yeah.
centuries to come. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's things along that line. Like for you, D, you may not see it now, but when Sebastian is older and he's graduating, right? You'll be
Yeah.
like, I did that. Like I gave up something to pour into my son and look at my son doing amazing. Like you set him up, right? So try to think of it in that way when it comes to it where you're like,
I
ugh.
think I say more no's than anything as a mom.
Right to your kid, right?
No, no, don't touch that. No, no, not
But
of
why
no's.
is it easier to
Not the
tell
no's that we should be saying.
Sebastian no and not other people no? That's my question. D, why is it so hard for you to tell other people no, but not Sebastian?
Ooh.
Because his prefrontal cortex has not grown yet.
There's people out there where they're in the same
Because,
situation.
yeah, I mean, I kind of want to talk to people like I do my son. No, that's not nice behavior. You really need to think about that. You should go say sorry. Like I really would love to talk to adults that way. I think I've seen those. Well, that's a TikTok for another time, was the like gentle parenting other people and you're like trying to, this is just not how we do things. We're going to take a step back. Like but it's a time thing.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I'm not telling him no for what it is he needs from me as a
Mm-hmm.
time thing. So he comes up to me and needs to read a book. As long as I am not holding a hot pan or in the middle of a Zoom call for work, okay, I'm absolutely
Right.
stopping what I'm doing and I'm going to give you that time.
Mm-hmm.
But to do that to others and to do that for adults, to
Mm-hmm.
say no to the time is what it really is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, no, I can't give you more to this relationship. And that
Mm-hmm.
I already feel is so minimal because I'm spread thin and there's so many things going on. And I've got
Yeah.
90% of my life is being a mom and giving that time to my little one, my family, my husband. But
Yeah.
the rest of those relationships that I want to keep, I have a hard time saying no because there's so little to give out. So it's I don't need my time because I want to keep those relationships, but as you said, I'm not realizing that not having time with myself is also eliminating more time from others because the less time I have with myself, the less I feel good, the less I am energized. I can't stay up late. I can't wake up early. I'm starting to lose it. And it's because of the vicious cycle of not saying no. So it's that
You know,
time thing. I will give
yeah.
all of my time to my son. And if I really needed
Mhm.
to, I would say no in a heartbeat because of my son, but it's not because of me. It's because of that relationship. So it's still a problem.
Their favorite word for a good period of time is no, 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 no. You're like, give that here. No, no. So if we could be just like, yeah, no, I think we would get a lot further.
When we were kids, that's what you're taught to share, to give, to
Mhm.
this is what, and I'll circle it back to, Christianity. This is God told you and how you're supposed to give and share and show his
Mhm.
love.
Mhm.
If we're taught the complete opposite, of course it's going to feel unnatural. It's not going to feel like this is what I'm supposed to say no to protect this.
Mhm.
I think it's hard to say no as a kid. Also, I don't think going up to someone and going no, no, no is going to work. But it's not what we're teaching him. I don't want him to keep
Mhm.
saying no. I want him to be able to, well, use more words than no, no, no. That's what we're teaching him. Is exactly the opposite.
I think the only thing that I could say is that's like, D, you're a mom, and that's your priority. So I think it makes total sense that like you're spending all your time with your son. I think that's very understandable. Obviously, like if you're finding that it can be draining sometimes, which is totally valid. You're at the end of the day, you're human. I was thinking as you were talking through this and about like the cost of time and how to say no to that, because obviously you want to be there and you don't want to miss a moment with him. All I think about is like meditation. I remember my therapist when we started meditating, he threw me into a 45-minute meditation startup, and oh my god, it was horrible because it was 45 minutes of my day. I didn't have that long, and like it felt like it was a high cost. And I think by like the second, third week, he's like, okay, you know what? Let's start with 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes of meditation. That's it. You can do 5 minutes. And sometimes that's all you need. Like if you feel like you can't give that much time to yourself right now because you have other responsibilities, then maybe just 5 minutes to yourself in the bathroom, just like generally like just be with yourself in those 5 minutes and then go out and keep doing your thing. I feel like that's how you start. You start with like the small things and then little by little you progress to something much bigger, like a whole hour. It's your responsibility. Of course you're gonna want to spend and give all your time to your son. Of course, there's no one's questioning that. So maybe just 5 minutes and that's how you start.
Can you hear him screaming behind?
Yeah. But it's
It was
okay.
so good,
That's
right?
real life.
It's okay.
Real deal.
Not a fancy podcast studio here. This is
This is the real deal.
no kidding. This is real. All right. We spent the whole episode talking about how no is a complete sentence and how saying it to the wrong things actually frees you up to say yes to the right ones.
But we know that for a lot of you small business owners, the reason you're saying yes to everything is because you're wearing every single hat. You're the CEO, the assistant, and the creative director, and you're exhausted.
Yeah, that's exactly where the DeGarone Photography Small Business Partnership comes in. It's designed for the entrepreneur who's ready to say no to the stress of the DIY branding and no to the constant scramble for content.
Think about what you could do with all those hours back if you weren't trying to be your own photographer by partnering with Dee. You're handing off the visual side of your business to a professional who understands your heart and your brand's mission.
We work together to create a visual library that makes you feel confident and professional every time you show up online. It's not just about one photo shoot, it's about consistent, high end partnership that grows with you.
And it's time to stop doing it all and start doing what you're actually called to do. Let Dee handle the lens so you can handle the legacy.
If you're ready to reclaim your time and elevate your brand, head over to degarone.com/branding and make your best yes for your business this year.
All right. So, Christy, it's TikTok time. I'm going to share this TikTok and then we're going to talk about it. All right.
Advance in your career and maintain your sanity, you need to master the art of saying no at work. There's a strategy for this. Number one, be honest and direct. How to clearly and respectfully decline an offer. I'm currently swamped with several deadlines, so I won't be able to take this on. That's a strategy. That's a way to go about it. Number two, you have to offer alternatives though. Suggest another person or a different timeline. You can suggest to a coworker who might be interested in it. Number three, set boundaries early. It's important for you to set boundaries beforehand. Let them know, here are my limitations. And I don't want to exercise my work outside of those because it won't be as effective. Number four, use assertive body language. You have to be confident when you're saying no, right? And so some tips and tools are making sure that your shoulders are back and you're squared up and your tone is slow and steady. Be confident. Number five, use I statements, framing the refusal in I. I really want to help, but I just don't have the capacity at the moment. The main problem people have with refusing a task or saying no is they feel like they're letting the team down or missing out on an opportunity. My authority is based on extensive research in the field and as a consultant and a career coach. As a professional, I understand that in order to deliver at a high level, you have to be able to say no to certain things. You're not ignoring tasks. You're actually saying, I want to focus my attention on what's in front of me.
So, what did you guys think of that TikTok? I feel like it ties in perfectly to what we just talked about.
Okay. In a work setting, I feel like I have a better balance. So, business owner mindset, I can say we're not capable of doing this. This is an alternative because I have all of the answers. In a corporate setting, on the other side of it, saying no, I mean, I've only ever worked with smaller teams too, smaller companies. So you almost you have so much ownership of it, even if it is not actually yours, that it starts to feel bad. You start to say, okay, yeah, I can help the team. I can do this and take on that extra thing because it's going to help the team or it's going to help. But I don't know. Personally, I think I'm pretty good about being like, yes, but it's going to take forever. Like, this is not right now. This is, if you're okay with this taking priority, those 6 other things that you asked me to do last week are going to take another 2 weeks to do. Like, this is, yes, but you better know that these are the consequences of me taking that on. I'm happy to help, but it's not exactly no. And I think I almost want to go against it and say that's not exactly what, especially in corporate jobs. I feel like that's a hard one to say no. I don't want to also damage my relationship with my boss or make anyone think that like I'm not good at my job. I can do that. Absolutely. I can do what you're asking of me. But these are the problems that'll come after it, or these are the solutions for these other things that I'm going to need to pass this other thing off because it's, yes, in work, to me, it's, yes, I can. I have that capability, but I have to then say no to something else. And he didn't phrase it exactly that way. It was the just straight up saying no in a nice way. Oh, I can't go partying. I have to write my dissertation. Like it's not a presentation that you have to like, here's all of the reasons why I can't say yes. It's a pretty easy, understandable excuse. Did you feel like being able to say that and just say, yeah, I know I have a dissertation to write? Did that make it easier to say no?
Well, for sure. I think so, for sure, because then you had to prioritize. Like I said, I think there's an understanding. Like I feel like if you're working with people that understand, no matter what you say, it fits. Like, no, I can't. I have to pick up my kids. Like I feel like that's a very easy explanation, you know? It's like, and it makes total sense. But I think it's like the way you say no, the excuse is also in a way to be nice, you know? Because you do care about the person, you do care about the work, and you're not just saying, oh, no, like, no, I don't want to do that. You know, because that's not respectful. It's not nice. It's not kind to the other. So you give excuse to make it sound kinder. And, you know, I think that's just human. You know, it is easier to just do that.
I definitely appreciate your guys' take on that TikTok.
Okay. Standing up for yourself isn't selfish. It protects the peace God gave you so you can actually do what he called you to do.
If you say yes to everything, you eventually have nothing left for your true purpose. Christy, Dr. Christy. We're so proud of you for getting through that dissertation and becoming a doctor. But of course, we need to thank you for helping us find our voice today and reminding us that saying no is okay.
Of course.
Join us next week. We're diving into organizing and decor. We're talking about clearing out the crazy clutter on your physical space and your heart.
Yes.
Thanks,
And make sure you
y'all.
follow us on all of the social medias. And then we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Another day, another walk, keeping faith in the stride. No matter where the avenue goes, he's the one to always provide. From the dirt to the grace, you gotta keep the faith. Trust the spirit and the truth. Yeah. Because God will never lose. See you next time. We got a way you do it. Yeah, you did it. Yeah, you did it. When the road got rock, you pulled up to it. You always do it. Yeah, you did it. Yeah, we got a way you do it. Yeah, yeah. It's only different by avenue.